one of the best tools for video marketing. Zoom actually started out as a conference service where you could just dial in and do a simple screen share. But Zoom has evolved to become a way that you can actually record and capture content that you can use on different channels. Let's get into it. First and foremost, we've had a lot of success just using Zoom as a simple conference tool. We use that for all of our conferences, easy dial-in. There's a screen share, there's a Chrome extension. It just works, it's very stable.
One of the most underutilized aspects of Zoom is the fact you can record any conference call or webinar. We've gotten used to this now. Like, we record everything. We record all the webinars, all the conferences.
You have to tell the person that you're recording the call, especially if you're gonna use it for any type of content or social media. With your recorded calls, there's a lot of different applications for that. First and foremost, it's for training. So if you had a really good pitch call, or if you had a really bad one, or a presentation or a walkthrough or a meet and greet, keep that video asset as something that you can use for training so that your future employees, future staff members, maybe even interns can watch something and then learn how you pitch the product or how you communicate, how you share your story. The way that you're gonna present information in a meeting, in an internal meeting, is very different from the way that you're gonna do it in a business setting where you have a client or a prospect on the other end. So record those calls for training. That's probably the first thing. The second thing is that your calls and your conference calls and your webinars can actually be really good content. For example, if you're pitching something or if you're explaining yourself, you can turn that into an asset that you put on YouTube or on Facebook. It's important to get the person's permission, but sometimes you're not going to use them in the content. It's actually just going to be you pitching or communicating or sharing a story.
Those recorded conferences or webinars and then cutting those into smaller pieces, putting them on YouTube or Instagram. I feel like that's something that anyone can do. It's pretty easy. You can even just trim the clips using QuickTime Player on your Mac or a similar software for PC. Of course, we're in the world now. The more stuff you put out, the better. And that's just prime opportunity to create content without the effort. It's no friction. You're already having those webinars. You might as well record it, make it into smaller pieces and distribute it.
One of the coolest things about all the tools that are available to us is that we can go through our daily motions with meetings and with pitch calls and webinars, and we can actually record the content to use for social media content. What's neat about that is that it doesn't take additional time from our schedules to be able to document what we're doing and then share it on channels, educate and entertain more people in a larger sphere. Not to mention, some of our best dialogue happens when we're actually on a call with someone or when we're in a presentation. Because we have our best foot forward, we're prepared, we probably look presentable, and we're speaking with passion.
When you record with Zoom, it gives you a video file and it gives you an audio file. So you can use the video file for video assets, but you can take that audio file and turn it into a podcast. A lot of podcasters use Skype for recording podcasts. But really, quality is not always the most important. It comes down to authenticity and just capturing that content.
If you're on a conference call with someone and you're already recording it, as long as they're prepared, maybe they'd be into doing a testimonial video. Now, it's gonna look pretty casual, it'll be a webcam video, but it will be authentic and it's gonna be something that you can capture quickly. Sometimes when you get that opportunity, you gotta capture it. Don't put people on the spot, make sure they're prepared, make sure they're comfortable, and make sure that they're opt-in. But if they are, they can give you a really good recorded testimonial asset that you can then put on your website or YouTube or social channels.
That's one of the best ways to convert, is showing people talking about your product in a positive way. It's one of the precious metals of content, so to speak. When you have that sort of lo-fi quality, it's like, oh, this was real. It happened on the fly. There was no script writer involved in this.
No one was paid. There was no pay-to-play situation.
Yeah.
Good practical application is to record your webinars. The reason why recording your webinars is valuable is because you can turn that into an on-demand asset that you can gate behind a form. Instead of having specific times that people have to book for a live webinar, they can actually do an on-demand webinar where they can consume the same amount of content, but they can do it on their terms at whatever time they want, on whatever device they want. Having a recorded webinar is going to allow you to do that really quick. Not to mention, one of the best aspects of this is that you can edit it. You can add an intro, you can add an outro, you can kind of cut parts, some dead spots, some ums. Those are some tactical tips on how to use Zoom to capture content to drive more conversions. Thanks for watching this video.